Mabuhay Manila, this is Pope from ManilaShaker.com. Today, we will have another gaming review of another member of the Redmi Note 10 series. We made a review for the Redmi Note 10, the Pro, and the 5G versions. And now, we have the Redmi Note 10S. This is powered by a gaming chipset which is a 12nm MediaTek G95, unlike the vanilla Snapdragon 678. Other specs are pretty much identical, but the question is, how well will it perform in terms of gaming? Let's find out. Some of the specs of this device are pretty much identical to the Redmi Note 10. A few of the changes are the chipset and the camera sensors. The Redmi Note 10S is powered by a 12nm MediaTek G95, which for a fact we know that it is a good processor for gaming purposes. Its GPU is Mali G76MC4 clocked at 900MHz. Moving on, the Redmi Note 10S boasts a 6.43-inch Full HD Plus resolution with an AMOLED display which is protected by a Gorilla Glass 3. It has a quad camera setup which consists of a 64MP main, 8MP ultra-wide, and 2MP for both macro and depth purposes. Our review unit's configuration is 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. Out of the box, it also runs on Android 11 with MIUI 12 on top. And to top all that, it is backed with a 5000mAh battery paired with a 33W fast charging. So to begin our gaming test, we will start with a fully charged device as usual to check the battery performance, and we will also run the games via Game Turbo, Xiaomi's version of game launchers. So let's begin. Our first game is Mobile Legends. By default, all settings are already maxed out. HDR and HFR mode on, plus the graphics quality is already set to Ultra. The gameplay was smooth with no noticeable stuttering and frame drops even at clashes. Even with multiple animations, the device performed pretty well. It also doesn't build up heat, which is good. So with the default max settings, we get 60fps with 100% stability. Next is Wild Rift. By default, settings are set to quality, but instead we will test it with its max settings. The gameplay was smooth with no frame drops and stuttering, just like Mobile Legends. Although I'm not sure if it's the device or we just have a poor internet signal because it keeps disconnecting. But all in all, performance was as expected. So with the max settings, we get 60fps with 100% stability.
I'll make this look easy. Oh, a plan.
Now let's head to shooting games and start it off with Call of Duty Mobile. By default, settings are set to HD graphics and high frame rates, which is good. We can't pair max frame rates and max graphics quality, so we will go with HD graphics plus max frame rates. The gameplay was smooth, no frame drops even at gunfight. No noticeable drops during ADS or even explosions. As for Battle Royale mode, we experienced the same gaming experience, smooth, no frame drops upon landing, and again, the device doesn't heat up. So for multiplayer mode, we get 55 to 57 FPS with 99% stability, while on the Battle Royale mode, we get 52 to 56 FPS with 98% stability. Next is PUBG Mobile. By default, settings are set to HD graphics and ultra frame rates. We can settle for this since this is a great option, though extreme frame rates are available via smooth graphics quality. The gameplay was smooth with no frame drops or even stuttering while aiming down sights. I didn't encounter enemies all throughout the game and I end up dying outside the ring. Still, the gameplay was fluent. So with the default settings, we get 36 to 40 FPS with 97% stability, while on the smooth graphics quality plus extreme frame rates, we get 54 to 57 FPS with 96% stability. Now before we head to Mihoya games, I added Apex Legends to our gaming arsenal. This is a PC game that is made available on mobile, and just like PUBG and Call of Duty Mobile, this is a battle royale type of game. By default, settings are set to HD graphics and high frame rates. Performance on the default setting is sluggish, so I decided to lower it down to low graphics quality and high frame rates. Performance was good. There were some frame drops and stutterings throughout the game. Maybe it's the device or because it is still in beta test. Also, the device is starting to build up heat.
They're shooting at me. Reloading. My grenade.
So with the default settings, we get 25 to 28 FPS with 95% stability, while on the bump up settings, we get 35 to 40 FPS with 96% stability. Now on to Mihoya devs, starting with Honkai Impact 3. By default, settings are already maxed out. 60 FPS is already set for both combat and out of combat. Performance was great. There are some noticeable frame drops but nothing too drastic. It was somehow smooth, but sometimes when animations are popping here and there, frames starts to drop but little by little. So with the default max settings, we get 48 to 53 FPS with 96% stability. And lastly, Gangshin Impact. By default, settings are set to medium. Though the graphics quality is good, performance on the other hand was poor. There are some frame drops during fights or even if you are just panning your camera around. But if we set it to lowest plus 60 FPS, gameplay was much smoother. So you have to sacrifice graphics quality over performance, although you will still experience some frame drops. So with the default settings, we get 23 to 26 FPS with 94% stability, while on the lowest plus 60 FPS, we get 43 to 48 FPS with 95% stability. Now for the battery update. After 2 hours of gaming, battery dropped from 100% to 72%, which is not bad. As for charging the 5000 mAh battery with its 33 watts fast charging, it took 1 hour and 14 minutes. It works great if you're always on the go since you can charge the device in 30% in just 15 minutes. So overall, the Redmi Note 10S performed great when it comes to casual and competitive gaming. Although it did struggle when we played Apex Legends, which is understandable since it is probably not that optimized yet because it's still in beta test. As for Mihoya developers' games, Honkai was good and Genshin is okay. It didn't wow us with its performance on those graphically demanding games, but with the starting price of 10,990 pesos, it gives features the same as the vanilla version but offers a different chipset that focuses on gaming capabilities. So with that price, we will get the AMOLED display, a higher resolution camera, and more improved gaming performance. So that is our gaming review of the Redmi Note 10S. Let us know in the comment section below your thoughts about this device. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you will be updated with our future contents. Also, don't forget to visit manilashaker.com for more tech news, reviews, and comparison of the latest device. Once again, this is Pope, and mabuhay Manila!